The sun hung low in the sky, casting fiery hues across the asphalt as Sam Ellison navigated his rig through the long stretch of Route 42. The heavy-duty truck rattled against the uneven pavement, a familiar but comforting rhythm that had become part of Sam's daily life. His hands gripped the wheel with the kind of wear and tear that told stories of endless miles driven and sleepless nights spent in cramped truck stop lounges. With roughly 20 years under his belt as a driver, Sam was no stranger to solitude, countless hours on the road, and the constant weight on his shoulders, both of the trailer behind him and the bills waiting for him at home. To anyone else, Sam was just a rugged truck driver, a man whose thick beard hinted at wisdom earned through life's challenges. Yet beneath his exterior was a tender heart, generous where it counted, shaped by the struggles of financial hardship that were now as constant as his long hauls. He balanced his household budget with an accountant's precision, always staving off the darkness that loomed through overdue notices and a meager savings account. Compassion was a well of strength for him, a quality he clung to like a lifeline, even when he had little to offer. His small acts of kindness, the pint of ice-cold lemonade he shared at a rest stop or the snack he offered to a fellow traveler, were his way of bringing light into the lives of others when he could hardly summon any for himself. It was a balmy Friday evening when the universe nudged him toward a moment that would carve joy into his heart. He had just parked his truck beside a dimly lit motel, the flickering neon sign hooting vacancy. Craving something simple after a long day, he ambled over to the hot dog stand just across the street. While waiting for his order, he noticed a woman and her 2 children sitting on the curb outside the motel. Their hollow eyes, an unsettling blend of defeat and quiet resilience, stopped him in his tracks. The mother, dressed in an oversized sweater, hugged her children tightly. He could see the threads of a story in their weariness, the chaos of life that had brought them to this moment, one foot in the shadows of despair. Sam felt a familiar pang, a kindred spirit in her struggles, and soon discovered that this ordinary act of dining had turned extraordinary. He found himself drifting over, the weight of his wallet in his pocket suddenly feeling less burdensome than before. "Hey there," he said, forcing a friendly smile while kneeling beside them. "You all hungry?" The woman looked up, surprise flickering across her face as she searched his eyes for a hidden agenda. A little, we're just waiting for a ride." Sam felt the edges of pain around the mother's voice and shared a glance with the kids wide-eyed, full of innocent hope tangled with the threads of uncertainty. "Well, I've got a couple hot dogs and some drinks over here. You're welcome to join me." He heard himself before he had time to think it through, his own heartbeat echoing the weight of his last grocery bill. After a moment's hesitation, she nodded, and Sam felt a sense of purpose surge through him as he led them to a nearby picnic table, feeling a warmth radiate from within. "Just so you know," he said as they settled in, peeling away wrappers, "I'm Sam. I drive trucks for a living, and I've seen my share of struggles, so it's nothing for me to share some food with good folks." As they shared food and laughter, Sam learned about the obstacles they faced. The woman, Rachel, had moved into town to escape a troubling relationship, and while she was looking for a job, money had been tight. Sam could feel their connection strengthening, a familiar bond of human experience whispered unsaid between meals. That evening he found it easier to pull out his wallet. More than just hot dogs, he was ready to offer something that would possibly keep them warm on a cold night. He knew how hard things could get, and as Rachel explained they had been living out of their car before finding the motel room that was beyond their means, his heart broke just a little more. Before they parted, Sam reached into his pocket and handed over a wad of bills, feeling the tightness loosen in his chest as Rachel's eyes widened. "Seriously," she asked, bewildered. "I can't take this." "You can and you will," he replied, the steely resolve of kindness rallying in his voice. "A family deserves a roof over their heads. Let me help you with that." With reluctant gratitude, Rachel accepted the money, their eyes glistening with the kind of hope he'd wished to cultivate. Before he turned back to his truck, Sam found himself digging deep within, asking how often had he been so low. How often had hopeful moments flickered like the stars above? If this small gesture could light their path, it was all worth it. He returned to his truck, a lingering smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. In that instant, Sam felt the weight of the world ease, the burden of his own struggles momentarily shifted. It wasn't just that he'd helped someone, it was the realization that in weaving kindness into the fabric of his days, he found purpose and, more importantly, a wealthy fulfillment that resonated beyond monetary constraints. 2 weeks later, Sam sat in his truck, thumb nervously flicking through the radio stations that floated through the air like a crowd's murmur. Little did he know that an envelope awaited him, nestled amid shipping papers on the desk in his boss's office. An envelope that, in the weeks ahead, would transform his life in ways he could scarcely imagine. But for now, beneath the stretch of endless highways, he was content knowing that he had simply been a conduit of kindness, a thread woven into the ever-expanding tapestry of human connection. As the miles unfurled beneath the heavy rubber tires of Sam's rig, the stories of his encounters often danced like fleeting shadows in the corners of his mind. The simple act of sharing a hot dog with Rachel and her children had planted seeds of hope not just in their lives, but in his own. Each mile marker he passed seemed to resonate with a newfound purpose, urging him to search for connections hidden among the rush of the open road. Midway through the week, Sam found himself back at the same diner on Route 42, where he had first met Rachel. Nostalgia hung in the air like the sweet scent of maple syrup. As he descended the stairs into the establishment, the bell above the door jingled a typically mundane sound that, at that moment, felt like a call to action. He ordered his coffee and took a seat by the window, surveying the familiar landscape outside. The warmth of the diner contrasted sharply with the intensity of his new resolve. Within minutes, a familiar face strolled through the door. Rachel, disheveled yet radiant, sporting a feel of renewed vitality, unlike when he'd met her last. Her kids were strutting behind her, eyes darting from the bright lights and tasty treats within the diner. 2 weeks had brought about vibrant changes, their laughter echoing a promise. As Rachel glanced around, her eyes landed on Sam's beaming figure. "Hey," she called out, surprise bubbling over into a smile as she approached him. "I can't believe it's you." "Just enjoying the day and some trucker coffee," Sam replied, a grin splitting his face. "How are you doing?" Rachel sank into the chair across from him, releasing a breath as if she had been holding on to worry for too long. "We're doing great. I landed a job. They needed an extra hand at the local grocery store. It's not much, but with a little income, we're finally seeing some light." "That's incredible," Sam exclaimed, the joy surging through him. "I knew you could do it." The words felt right as they sprang forth, warm and genuine from his heart. "And it's all thanks to you," Rachel insisted, her voice barely audible as she continued. "I couldn't believe you took the time to help. That money went a long way, secured our room for more nights than expected." Her gaze dropped to the table, laden with gratitude that rendered his heart swelling with happiness. Sam shook his head, a little bashful under the unexpected compliment. "I was just trying to make sure you all ate that night," he replied softly. "I've been there myself. You don't forget those hungry nights." Rachel's face brightened, eyes glistening with a mix of awe and determination. "You made all the difference. You reminded me I could take one small step, and it could snowball into something bigger." She felt more like a kindred spirit than just a thankful stranger. Their conversation flowed like a well-worn melody, threading between past struggles and dreams for the future, each note resonating with the undertone of resilience. They spoke of finances, a topic that had been taboo in most circles but felt like open territory between them. Sam confessed how tight his finances could be, and Rachel reciprocated, sharing her aspirations to expand her role at work. Their vulnerabilities intertwined seamlessly. "This time next year," Rachel said, her brow firming with confidence, "I don't want to be in the same situation. I want to sign up for night classes and make a better life for us." The fire in her eyes rekindled Sam's own vision of thriving beyond survival. "Then you need to take that leap," he encouraged her. "Without that leap, you'll find yourself not sure, instead of betting on yourself." Rachel chuckled, a sound that lifted spirits. "With your trucks and other stuff you're working on, we should try to partner up on something. I could help at your local depot or something." "You'd actually consider that?" he asked, surprised yet intrigued. "Sure. Who knows, creating something worthwhile together. My own problems may only be temporary, but I think you've got the drive." The path from the diner was lit and balanced light on the canvas of their lives. Sam was beginning to feel more engaged with the world beyond his cab. He smiled at the thought of tangible, meaningful collaborations with Rachel. Within a few weeks, Fridays morphed from solitary pit stops to opportunities, fueled by the dawn of burgeoning friendships and business prospects. Sam began volunteering at Rachel's grocery store on his off days between long hauls, helping stock shelves and arrange displays under the fluorescent lights, while she managed the counter, wielding her newfound confidence. Their efforts drew attention, creating small waves in the community. A place once bound by struggles was now blooming with hope. During those afternoons, neighbors who had once walked with shoulders hunched now found themselves stopping by, sharing quick words with friendly faces. The grocery store was brimming with life and sparked conversations filled with laughter, people trading tips on budgeting and trading produce from their backyard. The warmth of community grew, wrapped around them like a cocoon. The ripple effects continued as Rachel's skills blossomed, her confidence unyielding. She spoke up during meetings, offering ideas and insight, leading to the store manager offering her shifts with hours that aligned for career development. She began to understand the nuances of financial management, grasping the delicate balance between saving and investing not just for her but for her kids. Meanwhile, Sam had learned to invest in not just himself but others as well. Employing the same meticulous care he had once used on his own finances, he helped Rachel and soon found the strength to revamp his own priorities. They began discussing small businesses, and soon after, dreams of opening a community delivery service materialized. Sam knew the ins and outs of logistics, Rachel had the understanding of the neighborhood. Their paths converged toward a hopeful horizon. But their buoyancy drew both admiration and skepticism, leading them to recognize that kindness could bring unexpected challenges. As rumors of their partnership spread, not everyone viewed their plans through a lens of optimism. "What do you think you're doing?" one of the longer-standing employees at the grocery store sneered during a slow afternoon, arms crossed defiantly over his chest. "This isn't a charity. You're going to ruin that shop if you drag in a truck driver with not much better to offer." Sam's heart sank. It appeared that generosity and aspiration fueled more than just gratitude. They could attract scrutiny, some still clinging to a narrative of scarcity rather than possibility. The stinging words of envy rippled through him, threatening to dampen the optimism he had worked so hard to cultivate. Yet Rachel stepped in, her voice steady and firm. "Sam's been a lifeline for us and for this community. You can see it. Don't you see how our customers feel the energy through every shift? We want to create something great here." The conversation bubbled with tension. Sam felt a spike in vulnerability, whispering doubts clawing at his mind. But just as he was about to retreat, he caught the glimmer of determination in Rachel's eyes, the belief coursing the same way through their friendship and budding community spirit. In that moment, Sam realized the truth of kindness was that it wasn't merely a one-time act. It was the gentle nudging of hope, strength forged in partnership, an unyielding thread binding them to their vision. His voice steadied as he defended their proposition, juxtaposing dreams against the chatter filling the room. "You don't have to believe in our journey," Sam declared, "but Rachel has the drive and determination. And I've seen how quickly kindness can open doors where there once were walls." Slowly, they turned the tide around, the collective chatter gradually shifting to the potential benefits their partnership could unlock, a bridge from job to prosperous enterprise forged through care. The moment crystallized, illuminating that kindness didn't only transform the receiver but ignited the spirit of the giver, a truth to carry onward. Taking the challenges in stride, they reshaped the efforts ahead, rallying their collective will to sow connections among locals, encouraging collaborations fueled by hope. Financial transformation unfolded, sparking surprising partnerships across the community. Farmers offered fresh produce for their delivery service while local businesses chipped in with promotional deals. Weeks bound together and growth articulated through effort. Rachel, feeling steadily empowered, shared visions of incorporating local artisans into their delivery services while Sam endeavored to incorporate sustainable practices. With each decision, they propelled their future beyond survival and into something more tangible, a thriving narrative of connection wrapped in warmth and openness. The rippling kindness steadily wove threads of transformation within the community, pulling people together toward collective aspirations of abundance rather than scarcity. Sam discovered he was not just a truck driver. He had become a catalyst for change, a heart that pulsed life into the economy away from isolation. Months later, standing beneath a freshly created sign that announced their new venture, Ellison Delivery was no longer just a doorway for transactions. It became alive with laughter, warmth, and purpose. The delivery service had turned into a beacon of possibility, inviting treasure hunters of the community to open their eyes to the wealth of opportunities they held, ready to flourish. As Sam stood there, Rachel at his side, a gentle breeze kissed their faces. Sam breathed in deep, feeling inspired by every moment that led them here, the days when he thought an act of kindness would be lost within the desolation of the road. A simple sharing turned into deep connections that ultimately embraced everyone and everything. "Who knew," Rachel remarked, nudging him playfully, "that a couple of hot dogs could taste so sweet?" "Guess some things are just meant to be," Sam replied, glancing out at the horizon, where the sun began its descent. "This is the life we create when we choose kindness." The two of them smiled, and as twilight unfolded, it whispered promises of possibilities still waiting to be unearthed, vibrant paths yet to explore, all laden with the incredible diversification that a ripple of kindness could provoke. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the soft amber and violet hues painted the sky, a perfect backdrop for what had become a blossoming community. Sam stood at the front of Dawson Ellison Delivery, taking stock of not just the physical space they had curated, but also the intangible warmth that emanated from all who entered. The crowds that had gathered for the launch were not merely customers, they were neighbors, friends, people who had gathered not only to engage in commerce but to celebrate the spirit of camaraderie that had taken root in their town. With Rachel at his side, Sam envisioned the vast potential around him, the bustling energy, laughter, and the sense of connection that had blossomed. Their venture had transcended mere deliveries. It was now an embodiment of purpose interlaced with the notion of community, an avenue to share resources and kindness. "Can you believe this?" Rachel shouted over the animated chatter. Her radiant face glimmered with pride and disbelief. "It feels like a dream." Sam chuckled softly, the moment flooding him with nostalgia. "It started as just a hot dog and some bits of kindness," he replied, a grin spreading across his face. "And look where we are now together. We've built something beautiful from it." The two had poured hours into their venture, each drop of sweat and laughter strengthening their commitment and friendships. Rachel, now confident and fully empowered in her new role, had forged partnerships with farmers and local artisans. They not only delivered groceries but also showcased handmade crafts, pottery, jams, baked goods in a way that illuminated the best of what the community had to offer. As the day wore on, Sam found himself reflecting on how far they had come. Just months ago, he felt the weight of loneliness, battling unseen burdens. It seemed all-consuming at times, but the simple act of reaching out had propelled him into a thriving network of love, gratitude, and shared dreams. Now he watched as families entered the storefront with smiles, exchanging words and sharing stories. Chairs lined an outdoor patio where people gathered to sip coffee and connect, knitting the community closer together. A loud laugh broke his reverie. Roy, the town's bushy-bearded carpenter, clapped Sam on the back, his jovial spirit rushing in like a gust of fresh air. "You've done a hell of a job here, Dawson," he exclaimed, raising a glass of homemade lemonade. "It takes guts to step out, but ya did right by not just yourself but all of us too." "Cheers!" Sam raised his own paper cup, gratitude swelling within. "It's the people that make it possible, Roy. Your support, along with everyone else's, turned my journey into something more." Their celebration echoed through the year, each delivery contributing a sense of purpose, while Sam and Rachel worked side by side through thick and thin, navigating setbacks and triumphs together. Challenges arose, of course, disruptions in suppliers, unexpected equipment failures, but rather than crumble, these hurdles forged their partnership even stronger. They learned to harness laughter amidst chaos, finding clarity in each new problem to solve. One of the most significant turns in their journey came in the form of a local charity event planned for the year's end. Festivals and gatherings typically thrived in the town, but this particular event was special. The aim was to raise funds for an outreach program focused on getting essential supplies to families in need. Sam Rachel said one chilly afternoon as they sorted their delivery inventory, "What if we offered a donation from each delivery we make leading up to the event? We could sponsor free meals at the festival. It's a small way to give back to the community that's given us so much." For a moment, Sam sat pensively, considering the idea that resonated deeply within him. "That sounds like a wonderful idea," he finally replied, a smile creeping onto his face. "It's that same spirit of kindness that kicked it all off for us. It's time we pay it forward." With renewed purpose, Sam and Rachel set their plan in motion. Their delivery service soon echoed the joyous message throughout town: proceeds would go towards creating brighter days for all. News traveled fast, volunteerism surged as locals surfaced to lend a hand. A sense of unity once again entwined their quaint community. Through endless conversations with customers, Sam learned of their stories and bundled shared experiences together. Individuals offered help in ways he had never anticipated: design, food preparations, even securing a local band to play at the festival. Each act contributed to a wondrous growing web of support. The festival day arrived in a flurry of excitement. Colorful decorations adorned the town square, where booth after booth radiated the spirit of generosity. Rachel and Sam set up their stand, complete with homemade meals and a banner showcasing the extent of the outreach program. Smiling faces strolled past, each acknowledging the work they had poured into making something meaningful. As the event unfolded, Sam witnessed an extraordinary phenomenon. Families who had benefited from the outreach program gathered together, vibrant with energy and hope, connecting with those who shared the same plight. Through conversations steeped in empathy, strangers transformed into friends. Rachel turned to Sam, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Look at everyone. We've created a safe space here. I never imagined this additional impact would come from us." It's incredible, Sam said, genuinely moved, the culmination of months of hard work resonating deep within him. And all it took was some kindness shared between two people. Later that evening, as lively music filled the air, the pair stood at their booth, feeling the warmth of the community surrounding them. Sam took a moment to reflect once more the kind of path that had led to this moment was irreplaceable. Outstretching his hand toward Rachel, he whispered, "You've been a shining light in my life. Thank you for believing in this dream." Rachel squeezed his hand tightly, bursting with pride and fulfillment. "You taught me how to believe in myself again, you know." Together, we're able to keep the cycle of kindness thriving. The festivities drew to a close under the pale glow of starry skies, friendships forged in the fire of resilience emerging limitless. Funds raised surpassed their goal, but it was the connections made and trust built that ultimately mattered. As Sam gazed around, the glow of happiness wrapped around him. The blend of laughter and hope mirrored the beginning of their journey one fateful day at a gas station where a simple act had ignited a world of change. Now, kindness flowed through every heart present, extending like branches reaching for the heavens. Months passed, and the winter came to close on the bustling year behind them. Their delivery service gained traction, giving rise to opportunities. Having established itself as an integral part of the community, they could now expand beyond their initial bounds. Seasonal initiatives took root: a community kitchen, workshops on sustainable living, and nutrition education for children. The financial growth they had nurtured began to precipitate change not just for Sam and Rachel, but across the tapestry of lives entwined with theirs. Their once modest warehouse now hummed with activity and ambition, transformed into a hub of hope and resilience. Looking around, Sam felt a surge of gratitude so profound it threatened to spill over. "It's remarkable," he mused, standing beside Rachel. "Who would have thought a single act of kindness could stretch into this?" "Exactly," she agreed, leaning against a stack of boxes, watching as the team began arranging the items collected for their next event. "That first step really can change everything. It's a reminder to stay connected and open to the challenges and joys of life." Sam nodded appreciatively, "And it's only the beginning. Each connection we make allows room for something bigger than ourselves." The years rolled forth, blossoming in vibrant color, each season accentuating the growth of their community through kindness. Each delivery continued to ripple, transforming lives, igniting hope, and creating connections that extended far beyond the walls of their venture. And so Sam Dawson knew now more than ever joy often blossomed in surprising ways, unfold by moment to moment. He had come to realize that life continually sought balance in giving and receiving, understanding he had a newfound riches beyond measure in connection and compassion. Together with Rachel, they carried forth that spirit of kindness into the world, built on the principles that flamed their journey, now united not just by promises, but also by a steadfast vision of community, commitment, and unconditional love.